Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bruce Johnson, and welcome to our third AuxScout workshop for the new program year. AuxScout is the Coast Guard Auxiliary Sea Scout Youth Development Program. Throughout the coming months, we'll be offering online workshops on a variety of subjects focused on boating safety, youth leadership development, and the Sea Scout program. We've heard from a number of auxiliary flotillas that they're interested in starting new Sea Scout ships, but they're unsure how to interest teenagers in joining the Sea Scouts. Tonight's AuxScout workshop topic is how to recruit Sea Scout youth. We've assembled a terrific panel of speakers who will talk with us about what works for them in their local area. Three of the speakers currently serve as Sea Scout skippers or local leaders, while a fourth is a member of the National Sea Scout Committee who's developed very effective marketing techniques for getting teenagers interested in the Sea Scouts. The moderator of tonight's discussion is Tom Trefny. Tom formerly served for 5 years as the skipper of Sea Scout Ship 911 in Capital Area Council. He currently helps with Sea Scout membership in southern and western regions, focusing on Sea Scout growth and retention. Please note that we've muted your microphones to make it easier for everyone to hear. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box. We'll be monitoring the chat and we'll be sure to leave time to answer your questions. One final thing to note, as we prepared for this workshop, we realized that we probably have more material than we thought we did. This workshop is scheduled to run for an hour, but we're going to extend past the 60-minute mark to give the audience time for their questions. So without any further ado, let's welcome Tom Trefny and our speakers. Take it away, Tom.
Very good. Thank you, Bruce. And as you mentioned, it's this agreement between the Coast Guard Auxiliary and Sea Scouting has opened up wonderful opportunities to collaborate in all across our nation. And we've had several new ships that have been founded and started with Coast Guard Auxiliary flotillas as the charter organization. Moreover, more potential ships are in the process of starting as we speak. A common concern that has been raised is how to locate youth to join these new ships. Tonight, we've gathered 4 speakers to give their insight and experience with recruiting youth. To start, I welcome Jacques Walker, Commodore of Southern Region Area 1, to speak about the success of recruiting youth in his area. Take it away, Jacques.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Can everybody hear me now? I hope so. Get to the first slide. Here we go. Mapping out a plan. The 3 areas I'm going to discuss: organization of presence, organization of effort, and organization of action. I was just speaking yesterday to one of the Coast Guard Auxiliary guys in Louisiana, Pete Scamato, and he brought up a great analogy. Basically, with this memorandum of understanding, we've been invited to a dance, and both the Sea Scouts and the Auxiliary are in the gym, one on each side of the room, waiting for somebody to break the ice and actually start dancing. And that's what we need to do. So hopefully I can shed some insight on dancing. First and foremost, anything you want to do with the Sea Scouts, you need to work and coordinate with your local ship or council. You wouldn't want me jumping on any of your ships or any of your boats on a mission, not knowing anything about how to operate. It would help to work with our people, and they have some who have the expertise for recruiting. They'd be more than happy to work with you. Put you on the same page, and it eliminates double effort. Next. Okay, the biggest and best way to do this and recruit, can also entitle it Boats on Trailers, your presence. Find out when the council or each district's conducting a camporee, and basically you have a group of scouts there. Yes, in addition to just kids on the street, we're looking to get the senior scouts in the troops who are life scouts or even become Eagle Scouts to join our ranks. Those are your boys and girls now who have achieved high rank in scouting, and they understand the scout organization, and they're definitely assets to the organization, a new organization. So go to the camporees. The Cub Scouts conduct a rain gutter regatta every year. Of course, these small boats, it's a really little novelty thing, but it's a chance to have everything Sea Scouts, everything maritime. And your presence there would be greatly appreciated and certainly will bring up interest. Um, Currently, Southern Region Area 1 has a Fright Fest that's operated in Kiln, Mississippi. Uh, the Camp Salmon there by the Venturing group in Area 1. We partner with them on that. It would be great to have some Coast Guard presence there and show them who you are, a good organization of presence there. And again, Weeblos Woods is an event that we conduct on the Boy Scout side of the house, and Sea Scouts do participate with that. And that's just basically these senior Cub Scouts uh, attend this camp out, and they get to see all the units and what they do and what they have to offer so they can make a selection on troops. Well, it also is an opportunity for existing Boy Scouts to see what the Sea Scouts have to offer. And it's really neat if there's a boat on a trailer present and it brings up, hey, something curious, brings up something to, hey, what is that, to inquire about. And we find that that presence helps and brings activity about. And of course, inviting Sea Scouts and recruits, their friends, to your activities. Safety at sea, conducting a Boating America course, or even a boat show. You could do this for the existing Sea Scouts and have them include their friends. And that's the best way to get them to participate. Next slide. Organization of effort. Again, this is what you already do. And so you become a great asset here because you already offer safety at sea. You already conduct these courses and you already participate in a lot of boat shows. Have the scouts get involved, have their friends get involved. The more we see you, the more interested they'll be in Coast Guard Auxiliary and in sea scouting. You can also conduct specific courses. You now have a department within the Coast Guard Auxiliary that deals with paddleboard. There is a paddleboard merit badge. There's also a motorboating merit badge, and gives you an opportunity where you can train scout leaders, or you can offer this merit badge. And in addition to scouts, their friends can join in on this fun and learn some new skills. Next slide, please. This is the most challenging one, but I find a lot of success in it. In addition to having activities or participating in activities, obtain a drop list. This is a list from the previous chartering for scouts. They have every year when a unit recharters, some don't re-register with their unit. They leave throughout the year. And there are numerous reasons. Why do they leave? Most lose interest. Some have stopped going to the meetings. Some have made Eagle early, age anywhere from 14 to 16, or some have aged out. They're 18, and so they no longer participate with Boy Scout troops. But since Sea Scouts is to age 21, they can participate with us. So in obtaining this list, power dialing, the list contains information on the scout, their phone number, and an email to their parents. So instead of calling the scout, you're actually calling the parents and just inviting the family to an activity. And while many have lost interest in Boy Scouting, most have no idea that Sea Scouts exist. And so it's a great opportunity to get them involved in that. The more you participate in stuff, the more we see you, and the more the community will see you and have an interest. You have great assets. We have great assets, and I think we just need to get to the middle of the dance floor and start dancing. That is basically what I have. I know that it came by quickly, but it's in a nutshell, just activities. If you participate in things, participate in Sea Scout activities in your Coast Guard uniform, you'll bring about inquiries. People will be interested. And any questions?
Jacques, there was a question, where would they get the drop list that you mentioned in your last slide?
Okay, they would deal with the council. Each individual council provides that, and they can provide one for the entire council or the specific district within that council. You probably want to get just the district list, and it tells you what unit the kids was in, their age, and so because the age is from 11 to 18, so you can narrow it down to the 14, 18-year-olds, and just work with the local scout, Sea Scout unit if there's one in your area, or do it as a flotilla to try and generate interest in an activity that you're putting on behalf of recruiting for Sea Scouts.
Yeah, I think, Jacques, to add to your point, the district executive for scouting should be able to give that information for that district, that council district, and that they know all that data. They know which, and particularly which troops are losing scouts. The troops in particular have a retention problem, and so they're very good sources for for moving from a troop to a Sea Scout ship.
And one of the most important things on that list, they give you reasons why the scout left. And somebody's like lost interest. That is usually the number one thing on any sheet that I've seen, a drop list. The scout just loses interest. He doesn't like what he sees. He's gone camping a couple of times. He's not into that. But you know what? Most of the time, they've never heard of Sea Scouting or the Coast Guard Auxiliary. So that one call, hey, why don't you come out to this? We're doing this weekend. We're having a swim party. We're having whatever. Why don't you come on down? And it might stoke their interest and get things going there with the recruiting effort.
All right, are there other questions for Jacques at this time? If you think of something a little later, you can still type that in the chat box, and we'll circle back to him after the other speakers have had their turn. Other questions?
Hey, Jacques, I've got a question.
Sure.
So how do you find out about those scouting events like Camporee and Weeblos Woods?
Okay. First and foremost, if you have a ship in the area, you can get in with them to find out a lot of that information. They should have it. If not, get with the council. The council usually most websites have a calendar of when these events are, but get in touch with the council executive or his staff, and they will be more than happy to give you their calendar for the year by district on what each unit's doing. And a lot of them, most of camporees are at a district level, but they have a lot of opportunities to do things, and you can see what they're doing and may stoke interest. Hey, yeah, we can approach it this way. They're having this or having that, and why don't we participate?
Okay, any other questions for Jacques? Okay, thank you very much, Jacques. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Indeed, thank you, Jacques. So next up is Derek Cogburn. He's a skipper of Sea Scout ship 1959 out of Annapolis. I welcome Derek, and please put on your video, and it's on you now.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Holly, and everyone for inviting me to give this talk. I'm excited to talk about recruitment. This is something that is important to us, and we feel like we've been pretty good at it. But we'll talk about it's important to make sure that what you're recruiting Sea Scouts into is also solid. And so we'll talk about a couple of other elements that I think are important. Next slide, please. So we developed a recruitment guide, and this came out of my Wood Badge ticket. Some of you may have gone through Wood Badge, and you know that it focuses on the legacy that you want to leave. And we wanted to make sure that the infrastructure in the unit that we were recruiting youth into was as strong as possible. So we developed a recruiting guide that has 3 areas: infrastructure, program, and communications. And I'll talk about all 3 of those in some detail. But first, let me give you a quick summary of our ship. We are only in our 2nd year. We're finishing our 2nd year, and we already have 22 Sea Scouts registered with the ship. We have 18 adult scouters. We have weekly ship meetings. We have monthly activities, including our quarterdeck. We try to have monthly on the water activities, as well as socials and community service activities monthly. And from the beginning of our ship, we included virtual participation, and that allowed people who, for whatever reason, couldn't get to Annapolis and couldn't get to our clubhouse to still be able to participate. Next slide, please. So in terms of infrastructure, the first of the 3 areas, it's important to make sure you have as strong a unit as possible, where you have the institutional commitment from your chartering organization, in your case, your flotillas, and you have enough adult leadership to be able to support the infrastructure. So for us, our chartering organization is the Seafarers Foundation. It is the philanthropic arm of the Seafarers Yacht Club. And for us, the combination of those 2 is very, very powerful. So we have a nonprofit philanthropic organization as our chartering organization, which helps when we're looking for donations and we're getting offered vessels to use for the ship and so forth. But with our yacht club partners, we have a number of vessels that we can reach out to, and our yacht club members are bringing their expertise and knowledge to bear on our youth. And so that is critical. We also are emphatically youth-led. Youth who are used to scouting and those who are not used to scouting want to come into an organization where they can exert their leadership skills. They don't want to come into an organization where the adults are telling them everything to do all the time, and they get that in classes. And so we are emphatically youth-led, and if we have to push our adults back a little bit to make sure that they're not encroaching on the space of the youth, then we want to do that. They get to exercise that leadership at monthly quarterdeck meetings, where they are responsible for planning our program for the coming month and for the coming year. And you see in this picture on the right-hand side here, that's our quarterdeck making plans for the ship for the coming month. And we let them lead. The adults are there as resources. We sit back and let them lead. We do have adults that play a role in strengthening the committee and strengthening the environment for our youth and serving as advisors. So each of our youth positions is mentored by an adult. And so when you're recruiting youth to come into a unit, you want them to stay. You don't want them to drop out, as Jacques was alluding to. And so you want them to be mentored and find this strong infrastructure. So each of our youth positions is mentored by an adult. We have a strong committee that's made up of both our chartering organization and the yacht club. And then we have an advisory board of experts in the area who can also provide opportunities for our youth. We also have a number of very strong partnerships. So we have a partnership with Flotilla 2409 in Bowie, Davidsonville. We actually had that partnership before the formal MOU was signed. So we're really excited about that. The Sail and Power Squadron in Annapolis, part of the America's Boating Club, the Annapolis Maritime Museum, the Annapolis Waterfront and Sailing Center, and the Chesapeake Bay Yacht Clubs Association. So these are strong partnerships for us to build on. And again, the idea is as you go through your recruiting efforts, any of these activities are things that you can invite youth to so that they can see all of this energy and excitement and can want to stay and stay connected to the ship. We also have an Explorers Club. We do have a Maritime Explorers Club, which allows us to have a pipeline of younger youth coming into the ship. It lets us build on some of the summer youth programs and summer youth camps to give us a pipeline into our ship. Next slide, please. Second area is program. So for us, it's program. That's what our recruitment guide says. So you want to capitalize on whatever local assets you have. We're fortunate to be located in Annapolis, which is has the moniker of America's sailing capital. There's a lot of very active sailing going on here in the Annapolis area, both at the Naval Academy and on Back Creek and Severn River and Spa Creek. So we try to take full advantage of that. We're located in an incredibly beautiful environment where we can take advantage of one of the largest protected bodies of water in the world. So we want to take advantage of that. But it's also funny, young people like social activities. So it is important to balance some of the social activities balance the advancement activities with social activities. So there are youth who come into a unit really wanting to focus on that structured maritime knowledge that comes out of the Sea Scout manual and our curriculum and our training program. And so that definitely attracts a lot of youth. They like seeing the progress that comes from advancement and the satisfaction that comes from that process. But young people do like to be social. And so we want to have, as Jacques said, the pool parties and the cookouts and bowling events and so forth. You see the picture in the bottom middle here. This was a kayak outing, but you see the Sea Scouts, some just enjoyed sitting around in Adirondack chairs talking to each other and laughing and having a good time. We do like to promote outdoor activities, and this has been one of the areas that we've been hardest hit with the COVID-19 restrictions. We like to be outside on the water, whether it's keelboat racing, sailing, dinghy sailing, cruising, or kayaking. We like to be out on the water. And if you can see this image behind me, that is our Sea Scouts doing work on the Thomas Point Lighthouse, helping with the restoration. That's one of the most iconic structures on the Chesapeake Bay. And the fact that our Sea Scouts got an opportunity to help work on that was pretty amazing. So program, get them out on the water. And again, these are all activities that when you invite somebody, whether it's through social media or each scout bringing somebody, you now have something to bring them into a youth-led, exciting, knowledge-driven, but also social activity. Next slide, please. And finally, it's communications. So being able to have a strong organization and a strong program, you want to be able to communicate that. And you want to be able to communicate that with the world. And you want to be able to communicate that with your ship so that everybody stays connected and knows what they're engaged with. So we focus on two areas in particular, our website and our email list. So our website, ship1959.org, is built on something called Squarespace. Now, I am a programmer, so I can build websites on almost any kind of platform, but Squarespace is very, very easy to use. It's kind of drag and drop. It's really quite a useful platform for those of you who want to build a website. We also have email lists for our ship committee and for our advisors, so we can send one message to all of those three parts of our structure. We use the Google Suite for that. And then we're developing a newsletter using MailChimp. We also do use social media, and I know Josh is going to talk about that. Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And one of the key things is not to have lots of pictures of, adults standing around, telling kids what to do, but to have kids having fun. And you see these pictures are kind of emblematic. You do have the adult leadership that's there, that's doing training and safety and support, but these are youth having fun with each other and having fun on the water. It's also important to promote identity. So if you'll see our ship logo in the middle there, that was designed by our current bosun, and that helps to facilitate identity so that the scouts feel like they're a part of something. That's another key part of recruitment is identity and making them feel like they're a part of something. We also have a wonderful ship flag that you see in the photo on the left-hand side. And we use that down in a Chile community-oriented activity where we were handing out flyers and brochures. And that was downtown Annapolis. And the flag helps to bring people in. So the logo, the ship flag, And our Class B shirts, which you see in the top photo there with the kayaks, allows us to have a uniform appearance even if we're on the water. And the last thing I'll say is about Scoutbook. So we use Scoutbook internally to track advancement, to automate meeting announcements and billing, and enhance parental involvement. And again, one of the things that's important with recruiting is you're recruiting the youth, but their parents have to be supportive in most cases. And so if a parent can watch the progress that their scout is making by following along with Scoutbook, they can see what's coming up next and what they need to engage in. It also helps with recruitment and with retention. And that's it for me. Look forward to your questions.
Yeah, Derek, it looked like I think Keith Wilson was looking for an inexpensive hosting service. Do you know the cost of Squarespace?
It's going to vary, and inexpensive sometimes means difficult. So one of the reasons that I like Squarespace is that it is easy to distribute who gets access to it. And so people that don't have any programming skills with HTML and CSS and so forth, CSS rather, can still update the website and make changes and so forth. So cheaper is not always better. You know, it's worth investing a little bit in a good hosting service. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Derek.
Chris asks, these are great activities and seem so fun, but what if we're a part of a flotilla that doesn't do any of the activities that you mentioned?
Well, you know, right now, because of COVID, we're not able to do any of these activities either. And it's been a real challenge for us. And I would say that in that instance, you want to stay as engaged as possible. And if you could go back 2 slides, I believe, to this one right here. Yes, infrastructure. So if you see this slide, this screenshot here about why oysters are important. This was a really exciting virtual meeting. This was a meeting with the Annapolis Maritime Museum and Park. They gave us a talk called All About Oysters. And we had, you can see on the right-hand side, you know, we had good participation. I think we had about 18 people at the meeting learning all about oysters, including an oyster dissection. So it was the first time many of us had seen an oyster dissection in person, and that all happened through a virtual meeting. So you can focus on the knowledge content. A lot of our Sea Scouts have participated in the Ox weather training that the Coast Guard Auxiliary offered. And so you can focus on training as a way to try to keep the youth involved. But I believe the on the water, you know, getting out activities are what they really, really want. And so I think you're going to want to figure out how to make that happen, even if you're not currently engaged in those kinds of activities.
We have another question from Jay. Is it worth it to use Twitter, or is Facebook and Instagram enough?
So one of the issues is you want to meet the youth where they are, and that target keeps moving. And so, you know, most youth don't use Facebook. And so Facebook is really reaching a certain audience. And I'm sure Josh is going to talk about this in some ways. You know, parents and supporters, you know, really can watch Facebook. Twitter, some youth still use Twitter. So it's definitely, I would encourage you to still use Twitter. They love Instagram. And so Instagram is a very visual, if you'll go forward 1 slide, it's a very visual medium. And so if you look at these pictures of activities happening, we try to put these kinds of pictures out on our Instagram, and we let many of the youth have access to the Instagram account on their devices, so they can upload photos as well. And so to see these photos of young people having fun, and like that picture in the middle where we were having a cookout with Captain Morris's Great Burgers, yes, that's why everybody was smiling. We had great burgers from Captain Morris. But we, you know, putting pictures out like that on Instagram that's going to attract youth. You know, they see youth leading and youth having fun and youth learning, you know, that's going to attract them.
Okay. Are there any last minute questions for Skipper Cogburn? Okay, thank you very much, Derek. As always, you did a great job. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Derek. Looks like a fine ship. So next up is Richard Gash, skipper of Sea Scout Ship 41 out of Bay Village, Ohio. Welcome, Richard, and thank you for speaking, and I'll let you take it away.
There we are. Thank you. Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Tom. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you. So our ship has been in existence for about 20 years, and I've been skipper for 20 years. We've had our ups and downs, but overall it's been a tremendous experience. 2008, we were the national flagship, and on a regular basis, we send a team to the Coke Cup, which is the international Sea Scout regatta. Our ship is busiest in the summer. For example, last year we had about 35 Sea Scouts and 90 Explorer Club members, which I'm going to call Junior Sea Scouts. That's copying that from Newport Beach Council Sea Base. So I gather that calling them Junior Sea Scouts is okay. But typically they are middle school children. So but we're going to focus tonight on the Sea Scouts, which are high school and above. This particular year, we did no recruiting whatsoever. And we retained 20 Sea Scouts. I did not reach out to those that did not want to participate, simply because of the COVID situation. And we only had 40 junior Sea Scouts. I really wanted to try and limit the numbers there. So how have we grown? Well, we are very fortunate. We are right on the shores of Lake Erie. We have a great relationship with the Bay Boat Club, which has a clubhouse, and they have loaned us a sail building where we are able to store, I think we have 8 or 9 lasers, we have a John boat, and we've got numerous paddle boards and kayaks. In fact, the Sea Scouts built the first kayak rack on the Bay Boat Club property, and as such, we have rights to the 8 slots in the kayak slots. Now there are 60 slots altogether there. It's been a tremendous success, the paddle sports. We typically, as the picture shows, sail lasers, and we have a lot of paddle boards. That has been a really growing area for us. Kids really enjoy that. We have, I think, the largest paddle board in the world, and we can get maybe up to 15 high schoolers on it and 25 of the younger folk. Not all at the same time, though. Just Sea Scouts at one time and then the juniors at another time. So what do we do about recruiting? Well, we will publish articles throughout the year in a community newspaper, and we have the Westlake Bay Village Observer, and that's the newspaper that you would pick up on your way out of the drugstore, or it's on a rack in the library. You would see it there. So I'll write an article or another committee member, or I really try and get the scouts to write articles, and they are very well received. We put flyers. We have those handed out at the school, available also at the city library, and they have been great. We work with social media. We have a weekly newsletter that we send out, and again, I believe Derek mentioned MailChimp. That is a free email service that we use. very successful, and it has been a great asset for us. And also word of mouth. The second slide, please. There we are. Okay. The reason I have this one there is the gentleman to the left or to the right of the screen is Bill Ferry. He's a Coast Guard auxiliarist. I believe he's the district Sea Scout liaison. He has been a tremendous asset for us. Not so much this year because of the COVID, but the previous year, he brought a team of auxiliarists down. We set up different stations, training stations, before we were able to get on the water, and it was a great success. We also set up sea base?
Safety at sea.
Ah, thank you, Bruce. Safety at sea. I didn't have that in my notes. We set up safety at sea, and that's the first time that we've had it on the north coast of the United States, and that was great. That was a tremendous success. And that was the auxiliarist that put that on for us, and it was a great success. So, looking at how do we recruit? So, what we do is we'll look at the parents as one target. And with the parents, we're looking at, we mentioned in the summer that we offer a sail camp. We're learning lifetime skills. We're we're teaching how youth to boat responsibly. So we emphasize safety. Parents work with Facebook. So we will, in our Facebook mentions, we will concentrate on the parents. Facebook, in our community, we have what we call Secret Bay Village, and I think most members of the community are members of Secret Bay Village. So we're able to put announcements on there. We have the mail letter that I've already mentioned, MailChimp, that goes out once a week. MailChimp also has a free website offering, so you can build your own website using MailChimp. That's a new item for them. And the other thing that's important as far as parents go, we've always had one or two mothers that are truly supportive and really teach up the program. That has been a great asset as well. So as far as the youth goes, when we look at the youth, we focus on three things. Fun. The activity has to be fun. We focus on fellowship. We emphasize fellowship for the kids. And friendship. We emphasize that they will make lifetime friends there. And I have seen that over these 20 years, that has been the case. That has been true. So with the youth, we will use Instagram. We will use TikTok. I don't use TikTok, but the youth will have their own TikTok pages and TikTok, I guess, amongst each other. They've often had me participate in that, and I'm not sure quite where it ends up, but there we are. And the other item that is sort of surprising is YouTube. I found out that 85% of the youth regularly watch YouTube, and that's as per a Pew report that they published. So I try and get the older scouts to do the Instagram and TikTok, as I mentioned, because that's not something that I really want to be involved with. When I do not. I am very cognizant of youth protection. I do not email the youth directly. If I do, I always include a parent's email address in there as well. And that's something that we really need to be cognizant of. So what are we going to do moving forward? particularly with this COVID. I am not a great fan of Zoom, although here I am. For the youth, they've spent, at least a majority of them in our community have spent the day on Zoom. They really want to get outside and be active. So one of the things that we've done, we've stretched our budget, and we are importing from Italy. We've purchased a sailing simulator, and you see that on the screen there. This particular simulator, you can actually, this size of simulator, you can strap a laser onto it, and then outside it will be on wheels, but anchored. Once you find a location where you've got some good wind, you can anchor it, and then the wind will actually move the laser, and with the rudder you can control the direction of it. I checked, there's one of these down at the sea base in Galveston. I've talked with them, and they highly recommend this. So that's what we're going to try that, and that should be, I'm getting it flown in, and it should be here at the end of the week. So I'm hoping that we can get the kids out on the water before the snow flies. Not on the water, I mean on the land, pretending to be on the water. And that's my, the other thing is, there is also a computerized sailing simulator that uses a mock-up of a dinghy, and it's hooked up through computers to a monitor screen where you can control it, and that's something that could be used indoors. A new one of those is like $25,000, so that would really stretch our budget. There is a second-hand one available, and that's $12,000. So I'm in the process of seeing how we might raise funds to purchase that as well, so that we can have an indoor simulator as well as an outdoor one. There, any questions? I'd be delighted to answer.
Okay, I see we've got a couple of questions. One is aimed at Richard, and one I think is aimed at me. That was private, so I'll answer that one privately. What's the cost of the sailing simulator?
Okay, the one that we were purchasing from Italy was 4,500 euros up through the end of this year. It was on sale for 4,500 euros. The overall cost, including customs duty, air freight, and air freight, believe it or not, was only $100 more than bringing it in by sea and then trucking it from New York or Philadelphia to Cleveland. And not only that, we would get it several weeks earlier by air freight. And that total cost was $7,000. So overall, $7,000 for the simulator.
And Richard, in a normal year, approximately how many scouts would you have in your ship as well as your junior unit?
Well, this year, last year, let's do last year I had 125. And then part of the problem is they always bring a friend or two. So then always towards the end of the summer, we're always pushing to try and grow more. And I try and resist that. But this year, I think what did I say? We had about 60. And I really, really did try and limit that. I did not want any more.
Okay.
We were out on the water. We were not wearing, I was wearing a face mask. The youth were not wearing face masks. And none of them, as far as I know, and I would have heard for sure, none of them had COVID.
Hey, Richard, you mentioned several recruiting ideas there, like newsletters and flyers and social media, etc. which would you say are like your top, that are most successful in attracting, and also I heard word of mouth. So which of these would you say are the most successful in getting new youth into the ship?
I think the mothers play a big part in getting youth involved in sailing. I think particularly with the 14-year-old youth, the mothers are still involved. As the youth get older, 15, maybe 16, 17, 18, mothers are loosening the apron strings a little bit. But at 14, they still have those apron strings pretty tight. So Facebook definitely was a good one. And that's addressed to the adults, more to the adults than the youth. So your emphasis there is a little bit different than it would be to the youth if you were directing it to the youth. And word of mouth is very important. That is.
So Richard, you said mother. How do you reach out to like new mothers, right? Because you're able to communicate to the mothers of the youth members that you
right.
have. You're talking about new people. A lot of the folks on this call may not have a youth yet, and so how do they get the word out to some of the?
In our community, we have what we call Secret Bay Village, and I'm sure there are other Facebook groups in the communities that you service. And it's joining one of those community groups and putting just an interest article in it or an interest note. And that has really been successful for us.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. In the interest of keeping something like on time, I'm going to thank Richard for a great talk. And let's turn it over to Josh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Gilliland. I'm the chair of the Sea Scout Marketing Committee. I'm on the National Sea Scout Committee. Like every other volunteer in the country, I have many other scout jobs as well because we're here to help others. And there's been a lot of great content discussed tonight from great skippers. Let's highlight some of the how to use Facebook and social media and Instagram. So let's take a look at the material that we have. So talking about tips for recruiting with social material, and there's a lot of them. There are a lot of ways to cover these goals. First up with Instagram. As you heard, the youth are on Instagram, they're also on Snapchat, they're also on TikTok. It's better if the youth are using Snapchat or TikTok. I personally don't approve of TikTok because it's owned by the Chinese government ultimately, and we don't allow service members to use TikTok. So look where the data is going and think about those issues. Instagram is a great tool for using that can go out to multiple social media platforms at the same time. But before going into the how, let me just highlight two big topics. The success of any Sea Scout ship, yeah, you need to recruit, and these tools can help you recruit. But if you're not doing consistent weekly activities, none of this matters. Going to a big event doesn't matter. What you do every week is what counts in getting kids on the water to have fun. The other thing is BSA takes their branding seriously. So if you start renaming things or using the term Junior Sea Scouts, please do not do that. As an Explorer Club, it's supposed to be completely separate, and that can raise all kinds of problems. Please do not do that. Now back to Instagram. Create an account. Make it a business account. And you're going to create other social media accounts that are going to be connected to your Instagram account. And when you do so, you can cross-post to Facebook, Pinterest, and it's important to know the different audiences in all of these. Instagram, mostly going to be people who are of Scout age. Let's take a look at the next slide. And please, there we go, back one. All right, so we can link to other social media accounts, be it Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr. It's okay to try all three. Different communities might have different interaction. Facebook, you're going after the parents. Twitter, you could be going after the parents or youth. It's kind of, it doesn't hurt to try, but I wouldn't put a lot of focus there. Tumblr, definitely kid focused, and there's been success with that, but it's also been kind of a wild west on Tumblr as well. Regardless, if you're using Instagram, you could post to all three at the same time just by doing one post on Instagram by having your connected accounts. And the how to do that is stated on the slide, and it's very, very easy to do so. Let's take a look at the next slide, because moms are heavily on Pinterest. The moms are still making the decisions for kids who are in the 8th grade, going into the 9th, up until sophomore, generally speaking. That said, you know, we're just starting to get moms who are on Pinterest who are of Sea Scout age. They're definitely of Cub Scout age, definitely of troop age, and we got to be ready to connect with moms who are using Pinterest, which is, last time I checked, was like around high 80s or low 90s% of the users are female. And Instagram doesn't automatically connect to Pinterest. So what do you do? Well, let's take a look at the next slide, which tells you how. There's a wonderful app, and it's called If This Then That, IFTTT. And you can download that, and you can connect your Pinterest account to your Instagram account. So whenever you post to Instagram, it automatically goes to Pinterest, and you can create boards and have success that way in telling your story once consistently to multiple outlets, showing youth in action. As other speakers have stated, we don't want pictures of us. We want pictures of Scouts in action. We don't want pictures of backs of heads. We want pictures of kids smiling, having fun at a Scout event. And that means getting in a position with either a camera or your smartphone, and the cameras on smartphones are amazing right now, and taking a picture of them having fun. Let's go to the next slide, please. So the other part of this is creating a Facebook fan page. And this can be used to market your Sea Scoutship and use geofencing. And there's ways to specifically use this during COVID in trying to reach parents who have kids who are of Scout age. Let's go to the next slide. And we're going to break down how to do this. So another tip, create a YouTube channel for your ship. Youth are heavily on YouTube as well. So when you look at what social media youth use, it's YouTube, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, it's Snapchat, but do you need to use all of them? You can try, but picking a couple of them that work is fantastic, and youth are on YouTube. So let's move forward to the next slide, please. All right, the other thing that's highly important is use beascout.org. Make sure that your pins are turned on. You either have request more information turned on, or join online so you can accept new members through an online application, which still needs to be approved. I've had skippers say, under no circumstances will I use that because I want to be able to approve who joins my ship. And the response to that is, you still do. It's just like the paperwork that comes in. It's not like you're being forced to take someone. So, but it makes it easy, which is what we want in this day and age, for people to be able to join a unit. It has to be easy. Let's go on to the next slide. The other tip is add your ship as a place on Google Maps. Now, the last time I checked, there were 10 Sea Scout ships out of all the ones that we had in the country that actually listed their units on Google Maps. Let's move forward and we can talk about how to do that. So open Google Maps and follow the instructions to add where your unit meets so people can look you up, because people will Google Sea Scouts near me, and you want your unit to come up when they do that. And you know, pick good photos. Like, this is the unit I grew up on, and they're pretty savvy when it comes to social media and using all the tools that they have, because the skipper's a marketing professional. He's really good at this stuff. There are troops and packs that use this, and when they do, you can tell the good ones because they put out amazing photos. And then you can tell the ones that take a picture of a school from like 1,000 feet away and it looks like a prison, and nobody says that's the place for my kid. It has to show program in action that looks good, and follow the steps to do so. Now let's keep moving forward. We have material on seascout.org under the marketing toolbox to help you with a marketing campaign. We have flyers that can be downloaded, and you can have an open house, and the fields are customizable. So you can put in your location, what you're doing, and we have different themes: kayaking, sailing, kids at helm, all that good stuff. So that way, you know, you can pick what fits your program. If you have a scuba ship, we have pictures of scouts doing scuba activities. We also have images for Facebook banners. So if you make an event, you can have a Sea Scout photo that fits the banner dimensions. Let's go on to the next slide, please. Now, let's talk about boosting a post on Instagram. You can do that. Let's say you're going to have an open house, and you can go to Instagram and you can create a targeted geofence campaign that says, here's my area that I want to target. I'm going to put in an age range for who meets those demographics for the ad to come up, and follow the steps. It's very straightforward to do, and that way you can send out, have a targeted message to youth. Now let's keep moving forward and talk about how to do this on other platforms. Again, you can get really specific, this is still Instagram, on what kind of targeting to do if you want, you know, looking for kids who are into boating in some way, or maybe just a kid who's just in high school. You could make it very broad. So again, there are different ways to target. Let's keep moving forward. So let's get specific with Facebook, because this is targeting to parents. And when I've done this, I've targeted to moms and starting new Sea Scout ships, and it's worked for a mom coming down with little Johnny or little Sally and saying, get in the kayak, go have fun, and I'll be back in 2 hours. That stuff is amazing. So let's go through the steps on how to create geofencing if you haven't done that before. So as we create the ad, you're gonna wanna target parents. And Facebook does have the ability to do so by saying like, hey, let's look for parents with teenagers in this age range and create the geofence. Now we're going to see other slides on how to get specific with this, but let's move forward to the next slide. Now, for time I did trim this down. You can just target parents. You can target those who might have Scout background. You know, get creative and try different things. I recently did this for my council, where we did virtual join nights for each of the programs, Cubs through Sea Scouts. And the Sea Scout one, I targeted to parents, and with the marketing phrase, go kayaking. That had 690 people look at the registration page. That's the good news. The fact that they saw it was a virtual webinar was the bad news, and we only had a handful of people sign up. Still better than 0, but not 690. The lesson learned from this is if we did a COVID safe kayaking open house, there's clearly interest from parents in taking their kids down to that. So that highlights the need to look at the BSA restart material that's available on how to comply with your local and federal regulations on staying safe during the pandemic. But at the same time, look at kids want to get out on the water. People want to have fun. It's human nature. And scouting is a safe place that provides open opportunity. And that helped validate that belief. Now, the other half of this is work with the parents that you have. If you create a Facebook event, ask your parents, share that bad boy so their peers can see it. We also have the phenomenon right now that parents are all over the map in age. Like I'm in my mid-40s now. I have friends with little kids. I have friends who are pregnant with their first kid. And I have friends who have teenagers all over the map. So it's not like prior years where you would think somebody who was in their 40s had a kid in college, because people get married later, they have kids later, and it's all over the map, the demographics of the parents. But most of them are going to be Gen X or Gen Y as well. But again, it's just kind of all over the map. But the point is, if your 40-something parent shares a Facebook event, you could be getting parents with kids who are either younger or the same age that might be interested in other parts of scouting. So again, it's just the mindset that we're all in this together. The other thing that I would remind everyone about parents is give every parent a job. That job could be scheduling carpools, it could be helping with marketing, it could be helping with recharter paperwork. They don't need voting experience. As one scout leader once said, who had a troop that got up to over 100 kids, this was in the early days when they had 10, and this mom said, I have no skills to help you with a Boy Scout troop. And the Scoutmaster asked, well, what do you do? And she said, I'm the vice president of marketing for HP. She got a job quickly in that troop, and that's how they ended up with 100 kids and still have it 25 years later. So always find out what the parents do and give them a task that they can help with that meets their skill set. Let's go on to the next slide, please. Nextdoor is another social media community-based application that I strongly recommend using. Different places can have different levels of use of it, but at least in California, we got pretty good responses with it. Have parents share an open house because it's targeted to their community. It's like several blocks, and so it's based upon your zip code. And so there are a lot of people on this, and it's just another way to get the word out about your program. Now, there's no silver bullet for recruiting. There's no magic wand. There are lots of great ideas and strategies and tactics that you can use to get the word out. We've heard the other speakers highlight different methods that they have. The most important thing is to do something. And every week have an activity that kids want to go to and they want to bring their friends to. And that somebody looking online at Facebook, Nextdoor, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and then says, look at that kid kayaking. They're smiling and having fun. My daughter would like that. My son would like that. Or if it's a kid, that looks fun. I've never been on a boat before. Cool. How do I join? Show our youth in action. And if you don't have any youth yet because you're brand new, we got stock photos. We have other resources in our marketing toolkit. Check it out. If there's something that you think would help you, let us know. Because our target has been, we can't do a custom photo shoot for every program imaginable. Well, we've done our best to go, let's get the big ticket items that are universal across every Sea Scout ship, whether they're in San Diego or Chicago or Nebraska. We want to have accessible information that everyone can use and they can pick and choose what would help them the most. So let's move on, because I think that's the last slide. So Q&A, questions, wishes.
Okay, let's see. I'm receiving a whole bunch of questions to me privately. Let's see. There is a question about, will this presentation be available later? We are recording it now, and it will get posted one way or another in the next few days, and we will announce its availability on both the AuxScout Facebook page and the Sea Scouts BSA Facebook page. We'll also be posting the PowerPoint that went along with this. There are a number of URLs that I'm sure people are going to want to copy down, and you may want to use this presentation to help teach some people in your local area about doing this sort of things. Are there other questions that we can direct either at Josh or at any of the other presenters?
Well, it looks like we covered everything. So
Well, everybody is
I
now.
would like to ask if somebody came in with a challenge. Let's say they're facing a challenge in starting their ship. I know there's personally, I know some of them folks I've talked to. Did we answer your question? Did we give you some ideas, or do you feel like you're still like we haven't covered off that challenge? Is that something maybe you can chat or ask us? Yeah, go ahead.
let me add a COVID strategy that we're trying at the council level. And using targeted Facebook ads, we're now going to switch to using the short 3-minute video or 2-minute video of the Sea Scout talking about Sea Scouts. And the best one that we have right now is actually from Derek's ship. Her name is Izzy, and she's a rock star in that video talking about the 4 S's of Sea Scouts. And what we're going to do with that on the council Facebook page is targeted parents and see who looks at it and see if we can leverage that to join. And that's a way that you don't have to schedule a join night online, like doing one of these type of webinars for interested parents. We're going to see if that works. We'll still probably do one of these type of webinars as well. But the goal is try different strategies, because there could be a time when putting up posters at Starbucks work, because parents go in line, they're waiting for their latte, and they say like, oh, there's a Sea Scout open house where they can go sailing on day X. My kid would like that. So again, just lots of different options. And there's no magic wand here. It's literally try, here are 10 things, try a few and see what works the best in your community. And I know that's frustrating to some people because they want to hear what's easy, and it can vary and you can have different results each time you do it.
May I make one comment as well? I think it's important to recognize that youth are very, very busy. I think sometimes we don't realize how busy they are. So I think when we're recruiting youth, we need to make sure we're clear to them and to their parents that we don't expect some kind of 100%, commitment. We realize that they're going to have conflict sometimes with swimming and with lacrosse or basketball or volleyball, whatever they're whatever else they might be doing, and that's perfectly fine for us. We recognize that that's going to happen, and I think we should as we're recruiting youth, I think sometimes the parents might be under the impression, or the youth might be under the impression, that it's all or nothing. And it's not really. We want as much commitment as possible, but we recognize everybody's busy.
I so agree with you, Derek, and I wonder if we're related somehow, because really, really dig everything you say. As for, we have one questionnaire, any photos of Sea Scouts, USCG on the Sea Scout website? Yes, we did actually take a few, and we took them in Long Beach, but they do exist. And the question about what should we put on YouTube versus Facebook? And the answer is it could be the same thing. Like if you make a 2-minute video showing Sea Scouts in action, you upload it to YouTube and you upload it to your Facebook page, because one, kids could be on YouTube and they're not going to look at Facebook for a video. And two, you could just share the link on Facebook, but the way their algorithm works, they actually give preference to videos on their own platform that are uploaded. So leverage that tool, so that way you can get more shares and interaction with the Facebook video, which is, because like we post webinars on both YouTube and Facebook because we know people are on both, and it's okay if it's repetitive because there are different people there.
And I want to echo something that Josh said a few moments ago. There is no magic bullet on this. There are a lot of different ways of approaching promoting membership in the Sea Scout program, which is why we picked 4 presenters from each of the 4 BSA regions. They come from a wide variety of different areas and scouting environments and boating environments, but it gives you kind of a cross-section of some different approaches that work well to get teenagers interested in what we're doing. I think the questions have tapered off, and I'd like to thank Tom, Jacques, Derek, Richard, and Josh for their time. Appreciate your sharing your experiences getting teens interested in Sea Scouts. A recording of tonight's workshop will be posted in the next few days and will alert everybody when it's available. Tonight's PowerPoint will be posted on AuxScout Wiki, and I direct you to the screen that I'm sharing. There's the marketing page on both the Sea Scouts BSA website as well as on AuxScout Wiki, and then the main Sea Scout website and AuxScout Wiki. Please check out both for these terrific resources that will help you to sell Sea Scouting in your community. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. Please let us know if there are additional topics that you'd like us to present. And if you have follow-up questions for any of the speakers that you'd like me to refer you to, I'm sorry, I thought I had my email address on this slide, but it is bruce.johnson@cgauxnet.us. And actually, I think I can type that in right here. So if you have ideas for future workshops, or if you have additional questions that you'd like to ask all of the speakers or one speaker in particular, just shoot me an email and I'll be sure that they get it when I receive it. So thank you everybody for attending this evening. I'm going to leave this screen up for a few minutes, and we can we'll sign off, but we'll leave the session open if people want to do a little more talking. It's getting pretty late in the East, so we'll give you another 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll need to sign off. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.